Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, the Hormone Whisperer. We are so excited for our quick tip today. But as you can see, we have a very special guest that came all the way from Lexington, Kentucky.
Right.
We have Dr. Shannyn Pearce in the house here this morning. Yeah. And actually, her husband, we sent him for coffee. So,
that's true.
Dr. Justin
He's
and
bringing
Jason.
snacks and coffee.
That's right. So they're out getting a little coffee for us, even though we have coffee here. It's kind of cool. But anyways, we were just here to actually share one of the biggest topics clinically that we deal with. But I have to tell a little story. Now, it's kind of funny. As you know, everything that we kind of do is kind of raw and unscripted because this is our daily life. So it's easy for us to plan first. So Dr. Shannyn doesn't know half the things I'm going to say to you guys today. So it's kind of fun. So, but it's kind of cool. Dr. Shannyn, they are a Wellness Way affiliate down in Lexington, Kentucky, her and Dr. Justin. And also they have an associate doc. And so let's say hi to him. Good morning, Don. And so it's kind of cool. And kind of neat, when I first met her that way, she fell in love with the thyroid. And we all have our loves. You know, saying, as you guys know, I've always, really enjoyed the whole female aspect that way. And obviously, thyroid's a part of it that way. But she really took to it that way. And, oh, that's right, Fancy Nancy. We got to grab our thyroid book. I forgot to grab one. See, we're unscripted. We don't even, plan that well over that.
There's actually one in my purse.
There you go. It's even better.
I have one on me all the time.
And so she actually helped rewrite the thyroid book and put some amazing stuff in there. And so when they came up to visit, they shot videos. As you guys know, we have videos for both doctors and patients that way. Thank you, Fancy Nancy. Doctors and patients that way. So it was kind of cool. I said, well, we went to actually do a quick tip on that. We had a different quick tip planned. And I said, Nancy, Dr. Shannyn and Justin are going to be here. Let's run with the thyroid because there's some things that we actually get downright ticked off about.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we're discussing this. It's really, we'll sit there and dialogue, and all of us docs will dialogue. And that's why some people say, Doc, sometimes you see it, you're mad. Yeah, we're sometimes frustrated, not for ourselves because we're not using certain medications, but it's because what they go through.
Absolutely. And the insanity of how often we see it. That's what gets me. Is it's not just once in a while. This
Yes.
is over and over and over
Yes.
again.
And the sad part is it comes with destruction to their life. It comes with frustration. And on top of it, when we just give them this kind of information that we're gonna really hit pretty hard today, they feel almost like bad talking to their doctor.
Yeah.
They're like, well, my doctor said. I don't care what your doctor said. Do you know what I'm saying? Your doctor's actually hurting you. So today, if you are on levothyroxine or synthroid, this is the video that you want to watch, share, and actually comment below. I really want you to comment on this one because, once again, when I said Dr. Shannyn, I said, Dr. Shannyn, we're going to take some people off today.
I know. And I think this is a heated topic for a lot of people because they feel like they absolutely need their thyroid medication.
Yes. And there's a big point because the doctor will say to Dr. Shannyn, the Dr. Shannyn's patients that way, they say, you need to take this for the rest of your life. And then we come along and go, no. Mm-hmm. And even if you actually had your thyroid removed, you need some form of medication, but you don't need levothyroxine or synthroid. There's other great alternatives. That's where, for example, you can actually have the doctor prescribe you something different. But they don't understand much about that, but we're going to get, that could be a different whole topic.
A whole other one, yeah.
So what we're going to do is this. Before we get started, I'm going to go. A bunch of you guys are already on that way and stuff like that. We want to say good morning to all of you guys for constantly watching and stuff like that. So hello there. Oh, Michelle's on. Hello, Kayla. Hello, Janelle. Amy from the East Coast out there. She shares her stuff wonderfully all the time that way. So good morning, Janelle. Nice to see you. Dr. Jeremy Maxwell's on. Dr. Kelvy's on. We can say hi. And remember, it's kind of cool. As you guys notice, do me a favor. We're always doing things on social media and different media platforms that way. We have great doctors from all over the country. Make sure to check out their Facebook pages. And like I said, just mentioned Dr. Jeremy, Dr. Kelvy, who are on right now. Go check out their stuff. They put out great stuff all the time. But the great thing is, it's all congruent with all of our Wellness Way approach. So it's kind of neat. So Doc, you ready to get started?
So ready.
Ready to frustrate some people?
Yes, always.
So what we're going to do is, this is the one thing. Now, we're going to talk to you guys like our daily practice stuff that way because there's some frustrating things that really come up with us that way. So now you say, Doc, well, you guys don't really, talk much about medications. Well, really, it's not our job, but this is one part we're kind of forced to talk about medications because once again, synthroid and actually the levothyroxine, they're both the same thing. They're just owned by different companies. But like Nancy actually was just kind of looking up and she's like, wow, levothyroxine and synthroid are the 5th most prescribed medication in the world.
Yep.
And stuff like that. So once again, that's why we're gonna have a little topic about it because it'll actually interfere with you getting better. Now it's gonna sound kind of funny with you getting better because even if you were taking this medication, there's some important things to know. And that's where we're gonna start. We're gonna start right here. There's what your doctors don't tell you. So Doc, why don't you start with this? Because let's say I am a young lady, or I'm a young man coming in, or vice versa, age is that way, come in and I'm still going through a ton of things that way, and I'm taking synthroid, levothyroxine. What are some of the first things that you bring up that you actually notice here?
So the very first thing, I ask everybody this, and it's shocking to me how often the answer is no, which is like 99% of the time, but they come in, they're typically on a thyroid medication, and usually they still feel crappy. That's the thing. They're still coming to me for something, for some reason. And my first question is always, well, did they check your adrenal function before putting you on the medication? And what is the answer every time?
I can honestly tell you, 19 years of practice, thousands of people, and then having doctors in all the clinics across the country, we have yet in all the years of practice. See, that's why, I actually got a really nasty email the other day because I made the comment, I've never seen a doctor test properly. And the woman actually literally, remember, they said, I share all the good things. Man, you see the hate stuff we get. It's like, you're so arrogant, you're just a chiropractor. I'm like, whoa, hold the phone. Hold the phone. The reason why I say they don't test properly is this perfect thing right here. Because what Doc now explained, what are you referencing here when it comes to the adrenals?
So this is actually the indications on levothyroxine. So we're going to show you a couple of different places you can find this on your own. But coming from the medication, from the company, the #1 contraindication that they say you should not be on thyroid medication is insufficient adrenals. So that's not us saying it. That's not an opinion that I have. That is coming straight from the medicine, straight from the company. And you can see it on here. Levothyroxine is contraindicated in patients with uncorrected adrenal insufficiency on their label.
No, Doc, that's just your opinion.
No, that is on their label from the company. They taught me that. That's the crazy thing.
Well, that's the funny thing. And like you said, there's multiple references. So you're telling me that the medication itself lists that if your adrenals, so that's why if you notice, we put the title out there, it was kind of a little setup that way. If you take levothyroxine or synthroid, you need to do this, and you got to check the adrenals. And we're talking about the adrenals. So basically, if we go back to our Swiss watch principle, to where if you just look at the thyroid, so if all you do is test thyroid numbers, so let's say you actually tested all the hormones, which they don't, but let's say you test all of them, without testing adrenals, you can't have any clear picture what the thyroid's going to do.
Nope. Or more importantly, how to correct it properly if you don't see it.
Oh, wait. So she just talked about something quite amazing. Correction. See, not adaptation with some medication. You're actually talking correction that way.
Absolutely.
So if you think about it this way, think about this. This is why I repeatedly say this, that medical testing is so incomplete. So if you don't test the adrenals, there is absolutely no way that you can actually get a normal thyroid function.
Nope, not long term. You can adjust some numbers here and there. Your levels might look better for a little bit, but it will keep coming back and it will show up other places. That's it.
Now, once again, think about that, guys. That is a revolutionary concept because no, you're wrong. I have no problem with, for example, having different scans and stuff done on the thyroid. But once again, medicine has done what? They've separated the body so much into parts that they don't realize there's constant interaction. That's why one of the analogies, once again, that we put out there a long time ago is we call the Swiss watch principle. All the gears interact. Even a small gear stops working, guess what? It can affect the whole system that way. So insufficiency. What does insufficiency mean?
So many things. So it can be, underfunction. It can be that the feedback loop isn't working. It can be that they're overworked. That can be that there's too much stress, there's too much cortisol, there's too much DHEA. So again, their kind of definition of this is so broad, and they still don't test for it. So again, even if I think you have adrenal insufficiency, guess what we still need to do? Test it and figure out why for you and your body, how's your body responding and adapting to that situation.
Yes. So that's a big point right there, guys. So if you really think about it this way, if all you took from this is that the adrenals have a marked effect on the thyroid, that could change your whole health right there.
Yes.
Do you understand? Because so if you go, so let's do this then. Then what word would you use if a person said, Doc, my thyroid is normal, they tested my TSH? What word kind of pops into your head?
Incomplete.
Thank you. See, a Wellness Way doc knows that. It's not saying that TSH isn't valuable. It's just that's incomplete. Think about that, guys, because the one thing that made our clinic so strong, yes, it's clinical results, but it's our thinking and going, wait, that's incomplete. So we can't assess a person, can't assess a woman, a guy, and of any age that way unless it's done completely that way. So that's why a long time ago when I wrote the thyroid panel itself, everybody looks and goes, holy mackerel, there's like 11 values. And if they're not all tested, guess what happens? Now, Nancy, do me a favor. Make sure to take the thyroid hormones lab because once again, It's one of the most complete thyroid testing aspects there is that way. And it's kind of cool because, once again, we want people to get properly tested. So you can take that sheet and actually go get tested properly, all right? Now, that's not the only thing they're contraindicated on here. What else do they talk about here?
So contraindications in patients with hypersensitivity to any of the inactive ingredients. So you need to remember your medications have ingredients in them, just like your food, just like your supplements, which that's another side note, your supplements have other ingredients in them. So we talk a lot about food allergy testing and sensitivities. You have to know what your body is allergic to because it's gonna be in your medications as well. And some of these ingredients, do you have it on the next page?
Yes,
the other ingredients on. So we'll go over that. You'll be shocked what kind of common things are in there that you're probably allergic to.
Oh, you mean the ingredients? No, I got other things there. Tell them some of the ingredients that are in there.
Oh, there can be wheat and corn and soy, and there's dyes, and there's each one, like, so each dosing can be a different color. What do you think they make those colors out of? It's FD&C Lake number 5, whatever that is. And those are highly toxic to your body. So if you're having the brain fog issues and the fatigue issues, but then you're getting literally toxins and poisons every day in your medication, and you wonder why you're not better yet.
Well, it's kind of interesting because we have this dialogue, even when you first became a Wellness Way, and you've experienced this now clinically a ton, is if you have Crohn's or celiac, okay, which is an autoimmune response to gluten, you can't take one of those medications. But what you can do, and this is where I can honestly tell you that some great pharmacists, and actually we know a really great one that way, actually can have the medication made without those ingredients. Okay? Because once again, so if you have Crohn's or celiac, think about this. If you have Crohn's or celiac and you watch this right now, and you're taking levothyroxine or synthroid, it's actually hurting you. Who said so? The medication. Because you have ingredients in there that are actually triggering your autoimmune disease. And so a lot of people don't realize, we're so particular about people eating foods. Do you understand? Medications you can be massively allergic to, but see, they don't have the anaphylactic actual response, but they don't realize there's this chronic inflammation, which is causing massive damage to your body over time that way. So the ingredients are quite crazy.
I had a patient probably about 6 months ago. So she had been under care for 6 months. We were rechecking her thyroid values. She was doing a lot better, but we just felt like we were kind of missing something. And she was still on low-dose synthroid. And she was a little bit nervous to get off it, which some people are. I'm sure you experienced that too. She has a massive IG allergy to eggs. And she was still taking her medication, and I just sat down with her and I said, listen, like, all I can say is for you to go to the next level with your health, you're gonna have to change that piece of it. I mean, that's giving you toxins every single day. So finally, she switches her medications. Within 30 days, we retake her lab values, and they're perfect. Within just from switching that, because she was getting her allergies every single day.
And see, there's one thing key that I want you, the doc said, which all the doctors do across the country, is this: test, okay? Retest. Reevaluate, see where it's coming from. There's constant digging to find out where these things are going wrong. You know, just compensating, and even if you made T4 and T3 or TSH go back to normal, once again, you're not normal. You know, a lot of people say this to us, Doc, all the time. You've experienced this a ton of times too. People go, Doc, my blood pressure is normal. I'm like, it can't be normal. You're taking medication.
I know.
It's like, no, you're synthetically changed. And you stop the medication, your blood pressure goes right back to where it is that way. So you're not normal. It's just that you're within a normal range. So that happens a lot where people actually feel safe that their body's in the normal range. Why they're taking something. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. There's you have to do some big time digging to figure out what's going on. That's why, once again, but if you can't test completely or even know it, you say, so Doc, let me ask you a question then. With your experience, and it's kind of funny, we got the same answer, so I know this. With your experience, why don't the doctors then tell patients about this before they give them their medication?
Well, there's two different reasons. One, they don't have another alternative. That is their only go-to. So if you're going to change, and again, most levothyroxine and synthroid, the only thing they are is a synthetic version of T4, which is one thyroid hormone, which will absolutely elevate your TSH, but all of the other values could very likely and probably not be changed at all. So they don't test it because the medication they're going to give you is not going to alter that. And then I really, truly feel, and I've talked to a lot of doctors and a lot of patients who have brought these inserts and handouts to their doctor, they don't know it. They don't know this stuff.
Now I can honestly tell you, as people know that besides chiropractors, which Wellness Way is dominant by chiropractors, is we do have other medical professionals within our company, okay? And I literally have to teach a nurse practitioner, a medical doctor, all these people that go, and listen, do you understand that if your adrenals are affected, you shouldn't be taking levothyroxine? Who said so? The people who made it. And they're dumbfounded, like, They never taught, they'll say it right out. They never taught us that in medical school.
No.
Do you understand? They actually said, here's the thing, give this. You understand? And it's kind of funny because I'm like, really? You don't understand this? I mean, it's actually, if a medication is given, they should know great detail about it. Now, when people talk to us, we know medications extremely well. Why? Because we study all the interactions and all the contraindications that way.
Yep.
So, because we have to be careful even what we give them so nothing interacts.
Absolutely,
Do you understand? Because you talk about some of the active ingredients that can be allergic to it that way. You can have a supplement that way. That's why it freaks me out sometimes when people are taking a bunch of supplements from a health food store or they're not tested properly and they're taking something and realize that some of the supplements they're taking are making them sick.
Mine, prenatals, like the raw food prenatals, which are even supposed to be good, but you look on the back, if your prenatal or your multivitamin, whatever it is, if it has 90 different ingredients on it, the likelihood that you're allergic to one of those is very high. And you need to know that.
Yes, it's very high. So I want you to think about this. So we just took one reference. So a lot of people, which I think is a great thing, you can actually go to WebMD. So we did pull it up, okay? So let's pull up WebMD, type in levothyroxine that way. Now, they go a little bit more extensively into it that way, and they talk about the same things. You know, once again, allergic reactions. It talks about, number one, see, if you look at any Wellness Way doc, you're gonna see, for example, that allergies are so important to us.
Yep.
Because yes, people always thought allergies were important to me because it actually affected my health greatly as a young kid. But the idea is it's more than that. People are reacting to so many things that they even think are healthy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what do you think what kind of your patients' responses are like when you actually do their food testing?
I always tell people, I feel like I'm almost nervous to show them their food allergies because it's always going to be stuff they're eating every day. I'm like, I don't know how much this is going to wreck your life for a little bit, but we're going to have to do it. But it's worth it. So, I mean, that affected me hugely. I was getting really severe joint pain. I was getting a lot of chronic fatigue. We absolutely had some hormone issues I was working on. But when I really turned the corner, when I really felt like my body was able to start healing again, was when I 100% committed to my food allergies.
Yep. And remember, and Doc came to me first, not as a Wellness Way affiliate, but as a patient.
Yep.
And stuff like that. And I did food tests on her, and she's like, oh. I know. You know what I'm saying?
So in my own attempt to get well, I was juicing every day. Lemons, limes, ginger, all the things that are good for you. I use coconut oil for everything. Guess what comes back on my stinking food allergy list? Lemons, limes, ginger, coconut, and coffee, which was pretty much sustaining me in life at that point.
Yes. And I'll have a little for her, okay?
No, I have got it back. I have healed.
I know, healed, yes. That's right. Yeah, well, see, that's a key thing too. You can heal from that process. So, but it's kind of interesting. So if you look at it this way, and they get a little more extensive on there. If you look, once again, thyroid problems. Oh, there we go. Decreased adrenal function. I actually like that term even more.
Decrease, yeah, because it doesn't even have to be insufficient. If it's not working at 100%, you still shouldn't be on the medication.
Yep. Now, we've had some patients, both her and I in the Wellness Way clinics across the country, have experienced this. Where, see, one term that's used significantly in more of the natural field is adrenal fatigue. Well, it's no different than, once again, limited function decrease or insufficiency. But what people do, only doctors, medical doctors in the field recognize Cushing's or absence. Full-blown disease, adrenal diseases that way. But you gotta remember, any decreased function or any insufficiency has not resulted in some pathological process yet. But once again, the medication doesn't talk about Cushing's or Addison's disease. It talks about function, okay? And that's the big key. Now, the one thing that I love to do, because people say, well, Doc, WebMD can be manipulated a little bit by different things. Okay, so I said, all right, let's go one step further. Let's go to levothyroxine's front page of the website. So if you're watching this right now, pop up on our screen on your computer and stuff that, or go back if you're watching this on your phone right now, go to levothyroxine's website, just type it in. Go to their website, scroll down a little bit that way, and their warnings are there. Their warnings are there. And Doc, what's the first warning they give you?
Number one on their sheet, synthroid is contraindicated in patients with uncorrected adrenal insufficiency.
It's number one on there. Let me say this again. I know it gets repetitive, but you know what's sad? You know what's repetitive to us?
Yes.
Millions and millions of people taking thyroid medication coming in and still sick, and not once. I'm going to ask you an honest question. I probably already know the answer. How many of your patients have been tested for adrenals before the doctor gave them this medication?
One.
Oh
I had one. And you know what the silly thing is? She actually had a Dutch test from an MD, which is crazy. That blew my mind.
Oh, she had to be watching one of our videos.
But then I asked her after she got it, and there was a lot of things out, and she was still calling me for advice and help and still looking for a doctor. And I was like, well, after this test, what happened? He didn't review it with me.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
But at least the doctor did it. So let's give that doc the kudos. You know what I'm saying? I think that doctor right there should be given a gold medal because at least they did that. Do you know what I'm saying? And maybe he did it for just even purposes of not getting in trouble. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And but think about it this way. I can honestly say I've never had one yet.
Yeah.
And stuff out of all these and stuff. So, but the thing is this, once again, it's such a major role. So that's why, guys, if you can take one thing from this, testing completely, and Doc actually used the example of tests. We'll show it to you of a clinical example that happened in our offices that way. So, but there's more. But there's a little bit more on this one that I want to get to because I actually have even a recent clinical one that I want to talk about that way. So if you look here, it goes once again. If there is adrenal insufficiency, it says treat them with steroids right away. Treat them with steroids right away, okay? Because once again, before, and it says prior to treating with synthroid or levothyroxine. So it's even saying take a corticosteroid. Once again, there's better ways to get the adrenals normal than a medication that way. But at least they're telling them, get something done first, okay? We scroll down a little bit more, and it says these drugs interact with foods. So with foods, let me say it again. They interact with foods. What is that main food source, Doc, that it interacts with?
Soy.
There we go. Hey, you guys have heard me preach this for 20 years. I cannot stand soy products. Now, yes, let's go back here. Fermented soy can be a health food, but even fermented soy cannot be eaten when you're taking thyroid medication. So even the healthiest soy still has to be avoided. Even if you do have miso soup, which I think miso soup is great. Fermented, great. Actually, it lost all of its inhibitors that way, but the soy itself is really bad for you. Yep. Soy is the #1 interactive food. Well, it's kind of interesting. There's soy in everything today.
Everything. You read every health label, every health food bar, you're hard pressed to find anything that doesn't have soy lecithin, something of that nature. So even if you're under full medical care, okay, that you never knew that we existed or never knew that this even existed that way, the doctor, to get the best function out of their medication. So we're just talking medication, nothing to do with anything that we're talking about. Just the best function of medication. Did your doctor ever tell you to avoid soy? Let me ask you a question though, Doc. In your experience, when you ask the patient that, have you had any doctors ever say avoid soy while you take this medication? Never.
Never. So we're talking medications, guys. I always said, Doc, don't you think we could actually be really good medical doctors?
Yeah, yes.
We could drug people properly. As you guys know, we're not against medications. I could drug people greatly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That would work a lot better because it would be used in the correct context.
That's right. Because if I was sitting down and my only arsenal was levothyroxine synthroid, I would say, listen, we need to test your adrenals first. We need to avoid these foods. Now, it's more than soy, do you know what I'm saying? But we need to avoid soy. We need to do these things to get it back to normal the best we can. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's some basic stuff.
Yeah.
You know, docs, honestly, a lot of medical doctors, once again, are not part of the Wellness Way. You guys watch all of our videos. Please do me a favor. Do that. Do that for the patient. These people are suffering. They're looking for your health. You're supposed to be the expert, not us.
Yeah.
We are not legal to even prescribe it. Why are we teaching people this stuff?
Exactly.
See, we're not telling people to stay out, to get away from levothyroxine and synthroid. Now, I will say this, though. With appropriate care, your doctor can wean you off of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a whole nother slide, okay? But think about this. But we also have to make sure as practitioners that people are not getting hurt from the medication because these do cause interactions. Once again, interaction is a bad thing, okay? So guys, do me a favor. If you are taking levothyroxine or synthroid right now, even currently, and it's one of the first steps, avoid soy at all costs, okay? Now, there's one part down here that's extremely interesting because this is extremely common, Doc, and this personally happened to a very long-term family I took care of. Let's just say the husband's name is Mike, okay? But I've taken care of his mom and dad for a long time, taken care of him since he was young, and then he got married to a wonderful, wonderful woman, and what ended up happening is she got pregnant. Well, but she got pregnant before she started. She had Hashimoto's really bad. Okay? They never tested her properly. We got her doing so well. They got married, boom, got pregnant. Well, it's interesting because, ladies, let me tell you this, okay? Just by nature, when you're pregnant, doctors do every fear tactic on the planet.
Yes.
Okay? Ladies, let me tell you something, okay? I'm going to be kind of direct with you. Women come in and go, Doc, I'm 6 months into my pregnancy, and they say I got to watch out for preeclampsia because my blood pressure is going up. I'm like, you're fatter. You're supposed to actually have your blood pressure up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're holding water, okay? I'm not being mean, but you know, if somebody gains 25 pounds, their blood pressure has to go up just for their body to work, okay? And so it's interesting. Now think about this. As a woman developing that baby and gets larger, doc, what value goes up in their thyroid?
TSH is going to go up during pregnancy, and that's normal. So but they will go and say, oh my gosh, your TSH is up, let's throw you on medication, or they call it pregnancy hypothyroid, post-pregnancy hypothyroid. No, that's a natural physiological process to adapt to the situation. You're growing a human. I mean, things are going to change.
Well, there's more demand on your body.
Yes.
If, for example, let's say that all of a sudden this whole building caught on fire, we have to run our butts out of here. TSH is going up.
Yeah.
There's more of a demand. Now here's the funny part is this. On their website itself, it even says, TSH may increase during pregnancy. Yes. Oh. So Mike's wife came in, and she's been doing amazing. Pregnancy been going great. She went to her first appointment. They measured TSH, and it was elevated by their... They compare it to non-pregnant women.
Right.
And said, oh my goodness, we got to put you on thyroid medication immediately. And if you don't, your child could be, this is their exact words, I'm quoting the doctor, mentally retarded.
Yep.
This is what they do to people. And it's really funny because she's due in a couple weeks now, and it's quite hilarious because I kind of giggled, and lo and behold, they're so surprised how amazing her pregnancy was. She didn't take the medication. Do you see? And the funny thing is this, the TSH stayed very stable. I said, listen, have them tested again. But literally she was a strong woman. And because she knew a lot before she went in there. But she's like, really? She's like, doc. And then I showed her this, and it was her ammunition to say, stop this insanity.
Yeah, but what you said is perfect, though, is continue to test it. You know, we don't just fly by the seat of our pants and tell you something and then hope for the best.
No.
So if it's slightly elevated in the beginning, okay, let's retest in 60 days. And if it's staying stable, I'm not worried. If it's continuing to go up to levels that are now concerning, absolutely there'll be some type of intervention, but you've got to watch.
Yes. Well, it's the thing. And see, the only purposes for them testing is to change their dosages of levothyroxine or synthroid.
Yeah.
It's not normalcy. They're not testing your adrenals every time that way and stuff, and that's where we as practitioners get frustrated every day. Because why? Because you guys are suffering from it. You guys have to take the beating of their, incompleteness, of their lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And they're the experts?
Yep.
No, they're not the experts. Once again, they're not at all. Like I tell people, if you go to a medical doctor for hormonal work, you're going to be sick as a dog. I've always said that, but you guys are starting to understand this.
Yeah.
And I've been preaching that for 20 years now, and people are starting to go, well, guess what? You may not be wrong. Well, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about doing what's right, and testing completely is the right thing, okay? So, going to drive people crazy. So do me a favor, because I see people commenting like crazy. Doc, we got a whole bunch of people making some good things that way. So do me a favor, comment about what you think about Dr. Shannyn and I did. Do you think we're crazy? Do you think that we're mean? Do you think the fact that we are putting this stuff up there? No, we are consistently. I always tell a doc before they become a wellness way, I'll say, listen, you better be ready for a scrutiny. Not because what you say is wrong, is because you're gonna really challenge people's thinking. That's all we're doing. But see, we're challenging thinking with evidence. With their evidence.
Yep.
Do you see them? And the doctors will basically downright get mad when we bring this up. Nancy, you got something?
There's a few people asking what about people who've had their thyroid removed?
We're going to cover that.
Okay.
We're going to cover that. So, but let's do it right now, okay? Because this is maybe what we'll do, Doc, or maybe you can do a quick tip down in Kentucky.
Okay.
If a person has a thyroid removed, let me say this: you need something the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You do. I wish before women have their ovaries taken out, they would tell them that they need something the rest of their life, because that would make a woman maybe go in a little different path, okay? But let's say a person, I've seen people come in with full-blown thyroid cancer, and I even looked at them and said, man, that thing is pretty beat up, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to stop the spread of that, so have it removed, okay? But I always tell people, man, if you've been taking care of your thyroid, it wouldn't been this way.
Yeah.
You saying?
Yes.
You didn't magically just get thyroid cancer. But the idea is then there's other options that can be done. You know what I'm saying? And once again, and that's why we have different medical professionals that way. You may need an Armor or a NatureThroid the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But here's what happens. Even if you have one of those great alternatives to the medication that way, it doesn't change how testing is done.
Yeah.
Because a contraindication for Armor or NatureThroid is what? Adrenal insufficiency. Isn't it funny? A contraindication, because it doesn't matter what you do to alter thyroid, it's still a contraindication. So our job doesn't change. It's just that you'll have to take something that's actually more safe.
Yeah.
I love this one, okay? And then remember here's what doctors say. They're taught catchphrases. I giggle when they go talk to their doctor about Armourage or Thyroid. And what they'll do is this. So what they'll say, the doctor will say, well, we can't really control the dosaging.
Yep.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the dumbest thing I ever heard that they ever say. Say, doc, well, how can't you? The only way you know your dosaging, even if on levothyroxine or synthroid,
is from the rep.
Yeah, that's it. The blonde bombshell that comes in with a mini skirt to sell it to you. Yeah, she'll teach you. I know Nancy's laughing, but we laugh about this, but it's true.
Yeah, I know, but that is what blows my mind, though, is this is really how this stuff goes. Like, you think it's funny, but this is what happens.
It's real life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my goodness, you don't see a guy showing up in a mini skirt selling levothyroxine, okay? Yeah, no, their skinny jeans ain't going to sell the doctors very well. No. So, yeah. Guys, it's not a joke.
Female practitioner.
We laugh about this. Oh, that was funny. The female practitioner. We'll put Ross in some skinny jeans and run around and sell all the wellness ways on stuff. That'd be a...
Give him some ashwagandha, get him to run around.
Oh my goodness. I don't know why you guys watch our videos. I really don't. Okay. So, no, but you were going to say something before I just made that point. What were you going to say?
Yeah, well, I think my opinion on that is, so you said about testing, even if you're on something, you had your thyroid removed. So the thing is, you're no longer really making the amount of T4 and T3 that you need to. So the way you need to think about taking a medication, especially a natural one like Armour or Thyroid, is that's just giving you those blocks that your thyroid is no longer making. They still have to go through the same pathway. They still have to convert. They still have to get to the cell. They still have to use the HPA axis with your adrenals and your thyroid. So it doesn't change your physiology. You just now need some more of those building blocks because that's what was removed with your thyroid.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And that's why it's quite interesting that when you have your thyroid removed, even if you're taking an Armour or Thyroid levothyroxine, you need some great iodine, selenium, and things like that. But see, that's what practitioners like us do. That's what we do. That's what we're the best at. You know what I'm saying? Because why? Because we don't just throw iodine, because you can take an iodine from 1 milligram to 50 milligrams. Yeah. But the only way you know this is complete testing. Okay? So that's the coolest part. So we're only through step 1 and we have 4. Whoops. Oh, we could rant about this all day.
This might be 4 different videos.
Yes, yes. But no, you guys need to hear this. This is the one. It's a great video. And because, once again, known thyroid problems are what, roughly 27 to 30 million. Yeah. No, there's still a lot that unknown.
Absolutely.
There could be up to 100 million people.
The undiagnosed or the misdiagnosed is huge when it comes to hypothyroid and Hashimoto's. Big time.
Exactly, exactly. So let's go to our next stage here. And once again, we get off a little bit of our frustration and go to our next step, okay? So once again, we talk about adrenals, because a lot of people go, Doc, I hear the adrenals, but what are they? Yep. Well, it's kind of interesting. The adrenals actually have a direct connection to our bloodstream. Do you know why? Because it's our stress gland. It has to react so quickly. Like I just saw Dr. Justin walking over with Jace, your son, through there. And like I said, and all of a sudden something happens. Dr. Justin's going to grab his son because he's going to feel that adrenaline, the adrenal rush, and get him out of this burning building. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they sit right on top of the kidneys. It's why, for example, sometimes, now being chiropractors, people will come in, especially women, and say, Doc, I have a lot of back pain. And you adjust them and nothing happens. Yeah. Because the kidneys are so swollen from high stress.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So the adrenals sit right on top of the kidneys so they can put hormone, adrenaline, directly into as quickly as possible. It's a vital organ, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's kind of cool. It's called the stress gland. And what do we do as practitioners?
Remove stressors.
There we go. That's what we do. That's what we do. There's traumas. That's what the chiropractor does. A chiropractor is the best at removing trauma. That's what we do. It's a stressor. That's why a lot of people adjust it and they're like, ah. But remember, toxins, they're all stressors. That's why we're so big. You know, why do we have organic coffee? Because we don't want to have a non-organic coffee that's the highest pesticide, the second highest pesticide-based food in the world.
Full of mold. People get shocked about that. Yeah. Coffee has the highest mold capacity for crops because of the way that they process it.
Exactly. Okay. So that's why we're very particular about what we put into our bodies. We don't want to stress it out. Yep. Okay. But the third one, and the most important, that you guys have heard me preach to the nth result, is mental stress. Yes. Especially for you ladies. Because there's one thing that me and Dr. Justin, hey, Dr. Justin, come over here and say hi to us and bring Jace. Let's interrupt for a commercial interruption here, okay?
I don't think Jace's hair got brushed today.
Let's see. You guys can see the handsomeness of Dr. Justin and then Jace. Come on over. Pick him up.
Come here, come here. You don't have to come. And then
we got Jace. So we got the family here. Once again.
A little mess here. Say hi to you. He got woken up to come.
There's Dr. Justin and Jace.
You know what?
He's actually a little shy this morning, but it's kind of cool. Okay. They've been staying at our house. It's kind of nice having him here. And Dr. Justin's here. Good morning, Dr. Justin, and stuff. So once again, if you're in the Lexington area, go down and see them. It's wonderful. And I've been down, spent time with you and the family and the crew down there, and Dr. Don and Amanda.
Yeah.
Hi, Dr. Don and Amanda. Nice to see you guys as always. And then the family, it's a great thing. Because as practitioners, once again, we can sit and dialogue. Dr. Shannyn and I dialogue all the time. Dr. Justin and I, other docs cross country do. And living this together, it's fun for us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
It's way more fun when you have a group of people who think the same way and you're not in that little island feeling like you're fighting alone. Yeah,
and you said the key thing. We're fighting a fight, aren't we?
Huge.
And the criticism, like I said, I'm mean. Dr. Shannyn's nice. You know what I'm saying? But she gets hate mail.
I was going to say.
She gets hate mail. And at least I'm a jerk, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm the kind of person that get in your face. Dr. Shannyn's really sweet, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and she gets hate mail. Why? For spreading truth.
Yeah, no, and people don't like to hear it because they enjoy having an excuse for their illness, to be honest.
Yep.
And when it takes change, and what we do takes change.
Yes.
I could give you the best herb on the planet. If you do nothing else surrounding that, you will still not get better. That's just the way it works, is you have to put in effort, and not everybody wants to. That is one of the criteria when I sit down with a new patient or I do my inflammation talks. I'm like, if you're here for a quick fix, if you want me to give you everything that's gonna change your life, you're in the wrong place, because that's just not what we do.
Big time, big time. And see, one thing is this, and that's a big thing, because we're going to go into our next slide here, and because we just talked about the stressors. The adrenals respond to stressors, but there's that hormone. There's that hormone. The hormone that connects that thyroid and adrenal is that cortisol, our stress hormone. And guess what? You can test it. You can test it. You know what I'm saying?
Everything. That's the greatest thing.
See, it's
test
everything.
It all.
You know what I'm saying? You can test it. Okay, now cortisol, once again, in our blood work that Nancy's gonna post there, you get one sample, but once again, as I even talk about, one sample cortisol testing is great, but it's still incomplete.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's because why? Because we have a circadian rhythm. We do. Dr. Justin and I just did a whole video, and Nancy is kind of funny. Nancy's learned much just by walking around with a camera with us all the time.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that sunflowers themselves have a circadian rhythm. They face the sun. The whole circadian rhythm of our hormones is based on the sun going up and down.
Yes.
That's why it's really important for hormone balance to get up in the morning, look at the sun.
Yes.
Okay? Well, what do you think a sunflower does? And then it follows the sun. And then it puts its head down at nighttime.
You know, it's interesting too, is our bodies were also designed that naturally your TSH is higher in the winter.
Yes.
And it's lower in the summer. People don't realize that that's a normal function.
That's a normal thing. And once again, I want you to say that again, because that right there is a good nugget. Why don't we quote Dr. Shannyn that and put it on a meme? So
quote
say it
me.
again.
That's what Dr. Patrick always says.
That's right. Let's
quote me on that, Nancy.
That's right. Get that. Say it again, Dr. Shannyn.
That it is a natural physiological response that your TSH is higher in the winter and lower in the summer. That's what our bodies do. They down-regulate in winter months and they up-regulate in the summer. That's normal. That's no reason for a medication.
Yes, and that's basic physiology, guys. So that's why when they're testing you the same values all the way through the year,
it's elevated a little bit in December and they freak out and up your dosing.
Yeah.
There was no need.
Well, if you think about it this way, your mental stress goes up, your circadian rhythm changes because of the season that way, and like, oh, you're sick.
Yep.
No, it's called nature.
Yeah.
It's called the way God designed your body that way.
We're supposed to be hibernating right now.
That's right. We're supposed to be hibernating. That's a good idea. Guys, December through January, no videos, I'm hibernating.
Hibernating.
Okay? But that's the thing, okay? So let's go with this. And as you can see, cortisol itself, once again, is the blue area. It's very elevated in the morning. That's what gets us up and gets us going. Like people that say, Doc, you always have so much energy in the morning. Yeah, because my cortisol, my testosterone are jacked. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do I know that? I haven't tested. That's the thing. I haven't tested. Just like you guys know, I put Christy and Faith, all my family's tests up that way. We do it. We actually just had Dr. Shannyn's new test done and stuff like that. And once again, that rhythm follows that pattern. Now, once again, though, if you're extremely stressed out, it'll get very elevated. But over time, that's what happens is this. Over time, if those stressors, if you don't get adjusted, if you eat bad, if there's a ton of mental stress, insufficiency, low levels of cortisol will creep in. You know what I'm saying? Because your body will just run out of fuel.
And most people, when you talk to them about stress, everyone thinks they're stressed, and everyone is stressed. But they hear about cortisol and high cortisol, and everyone thinks they have high cortisol. So then they go on and they look up what herbs are good for high cortisol, or what herbs are good for stress, or what medication is good for that. But if you didn't test, I see many more people in insufficiency than I do high cortisol. I don't know if you have the same experience.
By far.
Rarely are they still in high cortisol unless I caught them in an acute stress phase, like going through something major.
Well, and the reason why a lot of times they feel stressed, and we're going to go on this, is because when the adrenals get low, remember the adrenals and the thyroid cannot work together the same. If one goes up, one must go down. If one goes down, one must go up. And so what happens, and we'll show us in the next slide here, but here's what happens. So here's actually a true patient of ours, okay? Once again, there's that adrenal, and you can actually have that rhythm tested that way. And as you can see, very low levels, very insufficient. Now, they haven't developed any Cushing's or Addison's disease where levels go too high or too low. So therefore, most medical professionals, which actually, funny verse, I've actually seen Cushing's, Addison's. They don't even, yeah, they misdiagnose them all the time because they don't think about their adrenals. Do you understand? They don't. So therefore, guess what? This person now has adrenal insufficiency, and this person, they want to put on a thyroid medication. No. Once again, it doesn't work that way. You need to test them first, okay? Now, the one thing that I want to kind of correlate this way, let's go back to that Swiss watch principle. People say, Doc, why do they tell us don't take a thyroid medication if our adrenals are low? Because once again, here's what happens. If you actually have the adrenals going low, the thyroid actually will try to compensate and go up. So if your adrenals are low and you take a medication and make your hormone levels go up, you suppress your adrenals even more. You suppress them even more. So the medication itself can induce farther aspect of adrenal insufficiency and push you into adrenal disease.
And then you're also trying to downregulate the thyroid or getting those things to balance themselves is an additional stress on your body because even if it's going in the right direction, it's still stress for your body to have to go through that process. And if your adrenals aren't working, you're going to crash.
Yeah, and that's why if you look at some of the side effects, can be a heart attack itself. You say, people say, how can a thyroid medication cause a heart attack? Because once again, you induce adrenal problems, which can now affect the aorta greatly that way, okay? It's why you gotta be very careful with this. So it's more than just, well, my doctor didn't test my adrenals. No. They can induce some bad problems health-wise, but what happens is your TSH can balance out, so there's no correlation to what's going on with you. See, that's the thing. They're so linear in their thinking instead of actually the major complexity of the human body that way. And they're so direct and they just forget about side effects and what they cause and what can happen that way. So that's why it's frustrating to us as practitioners going, do you know how many people, I can honestly tell you, I have looked at thousands of people and their thyroid medication was causing a major part of their disease, but their TSH was normal. So they're like, oh, yep, thyroid's great. I wish that was the truth, okay? So that's the big thing. So once again, I'm a big fan of having a one sample blood. It's on our blood sheet that way, but you actually need to get this tested properly while mapping out the whole cortisol rim. That's why we love the Dutch test.
Love it.
You get a full panel of the body that way as far as it's going to all the anabolic hormones, but you also get the steroid hormones when it comes to cortisol. Okay, and that's kind of cool.
I run those too. I run our thyroid panel and a Dutch test. That's probably my two most common tests that I run.
Now, look what she said. The thyroid panel in Dutch says, you guys know I've preached this before, testing's incomplete. If you just have the Dutch test done and actually the thyroid hormones done that way, Nancy's gonna produce that one. And once again, I just gave it to you. You don't even need us. You don't. You don't have to get your first visit is done. Get those two tests done. It will start to lead you in the right direction that way. That is the best complete hormone testing there is, period. And if your doctor doesn't do everything that we did, they're incomplete.
But you can take, I'm sure you've had this, they'll take that list to their doctor and their doctor will refuse to draw some of those values
all the time
because they don't know what to do with them.
All the time. They consistently do that way. But in their defense, they don't know what to do with them.
They don't.
Do you understand? I always tell patients, say, go home and Google search every one of them. They go, wow, these make a lot of sense and they should be done. Yes, but your doctor doesn't do it because they have no treatment for them, okay? So that's why it's extremely important. Okay, so here's what happens. So if you look at this, if this person's adrenals are very low, so let's go back there, very insufficient, this person was taking levothyroxine. No, you can't. Who said so? The medication. This can hurt that person, but it can make their TSH go normal so they think their thyroid care is complete. It's misleading. It really is big time misleading for these people, all right? So what do we do? Well, first of all, look for the other signs. Okay, Doc, go through some of the signs that you see on a regular basis.
Okay, so these first off are signs of adrenal insufficiency. So if you're thinking, do I have adrenal insufficiency? Here's some things that you might notice. So pupil dilation, this is Doc's favorite. Explain to them how pupil dilation works. This is how he says, men, how you know not to make your wife mad.
I'm telling you right now, I've said this for years and I can now scientifically prove it to you. When I meet somebody, especially ladies, I look them right in the eyes. So if I meet Dr. Shannyn, I grab their hand, I look right in their eyes. Why?
Am I mad?
Because if her, no, she's in great shape. Okay, if her pupils are dilated, man, I'm not gonna take her off. Do you understand? Because whenever a person's under stress, the normal stress response, pupils dilate because they're looking for the stressors that way. And I'm not joking. Guys, if you're watching this, ladies, go right to the mirror. Look at your pupils. Pupil dilation is a sign that your body's under stress. It's why, for example, women are like, the sun. The light. Do you see what I'm saying? People always don't realize that just the basic sensitivity to light. Guys, take this seriously. Once again, if your wife is saying, man, I'm sensitive to light, just this, look at her pupils. You know what I'm saying? I actually, it drives me nuts because you can do a pupillary test, or if you flash a little light in the eye, it should constrict. If there's adrenal insufficiency, it'll start to open up. Why? Under light stress.
Yeah, because it's a stressor.
It's a stressor. And so the idea is this. So it's one of my favorite tests to do. It's like, and that's not a joke. So ladies, if I've never met you and I shake your hand, I look at your eyes, I'm seeing if you're stressed.
I'm not creepy.
I'm not creeping you out. I'm really sincerely looking at you, see if I figure you out that way. What else do you see there, Doc?
Allergies and breathing complaints. Those are huge. Dark circles under the eyes, which always go together with allergies as well. Those are signs that you can have adrenal insufficiency. Dizziness, especially upon standing, going upstairs, lightheadedness, depression, dry skin, tiredness, headaches, joint pain, loss of muscle tone, blood pressure problems. There's actually a test for adrenals that you can test by looking at the blood pressure. We'll go over that in a second. Blood sugar problems, low sex drive, poor circulation, and weight gain. So you're probably sitting there thinking, I have one, if not all of those things on the list. Now, here's what I really want you to look at. I can take this list where it says signs of adrenal insufficiency. I can take off adrenal insufficiency and add signs of low thyroid function. And the list is the stinking same. So you go in and you're telling them this is how you feel to your doctor, and they say, with very little testing, it's your thyroid, here's a medication, when it's probably not. I mean, I teach thyroid. This is what I love to do. And my whole thing is, it's probably not your thyroid. It's probably 3 other things that have created the thyroid to be low functioning.
And she said the key thing. There's those stressors that are stressing adrenals out that are going to change your thyroid dramatically. It's your job to find a doc that finds your stressors. Okay? And yeah, these are just reactions to what your body's doing that way. We talked about that blood pressure. Well, it's kind of funny. Once again, I'm a jerk, so I make fun of people on this stuff. So I always make fun of doctors when a person says, Doc, I have high blood pressure. And I'll say, what is it? Well, it's 210/95. I said, listen, I can actually change that in 15 minutes with doing nothing. They look at it that way. What I do is I have them rest on their back for 15 minutes and take their blood pressure, and it drops. Now, once again, why is that significant? Because how do they take blood pressure mainly in the doctor's office?
Sitting.
Sitting up.
As soon as you get there?
That's not right. Blood pressure by nature sitting up goes up. All their 120/80 is based on them lying down for 15 minutes of rest. Who said so? Every diagnostic book on the planet. So if you're sitting up, by nature, your blood pressure goes up. That's why it's called, you take your blood pressure actually laying down, then you take it sitting up. By nature, it has to go up. Otherwise, you can have some blood vessel problems or adrenal problems that way. And it's called Reglan's test. It's a diagnostic test.
And it's supposed to go up by about 10 points.
Yes, 10 millimeters per mercury that way to go up that way. Think about that. So when all of a sudden they're sitting in the doctors, you're already stressed out because you white coat syndrome, which is a legal diagnosis. And then guess what happens? Then they take your blood pressure and they say, your blood pressure is elevated. Let's give you a beta blocker and all these things.
And has that ever happened to you where you're like, well, I took it this morning at home and it wasn't high, but then I get there and it's high? There's a reason for that.
There's a major reason and stuff like that. So it's like, guys, see, that's why. But then they go, my doc wants me on blood pressure medication. I'm like, okay, let's test your blood pressure properly. And stuff like that. And they're never stressed out when they're here. And so they're more calm. And then we lay them down 15 minutes to take it, and it dramatically goes down. And they're like, they want to put me on medication. Yes, because they're not even diagnostically testing you properly in the first place. So, yeah, so that's a key test. But I love what you said. You could just take away adrenal insufficiency and type in thyroid problems. And it's the same list. Once again, the Swiss watch. Multiple organs can cause multiple things. That's why if you ever think about this, Doc, how much do you really care about their symptoms?
Very little. That can actually muddy what you're going to do for them. If you chase symptoms, you're all wrong.
I've always said we could have a deaf, mute person come in here and test them, and guess what happens? You know, it's really interesting. We don't. That's why people say, I literally have had patients literally say, Doc, you never asked me what's wrong. I don't care what's wrong. My job is to help test you and get you back to normal. And guess what happens to your complaints? Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm going to figure out things that are going on. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? It's a much different way of doctoring that way. But you know something? When people start to think about it, it makes a lot of sense because your hormones, ladies, I'll say you got 10 estrogens. Which one's off? I don't know. So I don't care what your history is. I got to actually see what your body's doing on the inside that way. So that's why it's kind of cool. So now, next one here, Doc. So therefore, what can we do? What's always number one?
Get tested.
Get tested. Get tested. Find a doc near you to get tested. And if you don't, call one of our offices. Once again, they will test you properly, okay? That's the biggest part of it that way. And once again, because here, if you just do this, and see, this is what a lot of people do. Ways to balance the adrenals, and they give you 300 different things to do, okay? But you don't know if they're high or low.
You have no idea.
You have no clue. You need to check them, get them tested properly, do your blood pressure properly, do the things that you can see a good way of your adrenals are working that way. But I always love number 2. This is probably the hardest one for people to do. Yeah. People will take stuff all day long and do stuff all day long. But I always tell people don't realize our circadian rhythm dictates when we should be up, when we should be down, okay? And your bodies produce adrenal reserves. So about 9 o'clock, guess what happens? 9 p.m. at night, your body starts to do what? Starts to really shut down, okay? And you need to rest.
It's supposed to, and if it doesn't, you have an adrenal problem.
That's right. That's one thing. That's why I tell in the Flynn family, no later than 9 o'clock, we start to shut down. Sometimes even earlier than that. Now, we're not sleeping, do you know what I'm saying? But the idea is you just have to, because ladies go, Doc, I'm a night person. Let me say this, and I'm the only doc that ever said this a long time ago, and it drives me nuts that people don't understand this. Ladies, if you're a night person, you're going to be very sick.
Yeah.
Be very sick.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because your body, you're running on adrenaline, and eventually it's going to puke out because you're supposed to be resting. A perfect example is this. I tell people, go to bed at 10 o'clock and sleep till 6 a.m. Go to bed at 12 and sleep till 8 a.m. Exact same hours of sleep. Which one do you feel better in? The hours you get before midnight dramatically change your hormonal health.
Yes.
Doc, how much does that cost our patients?
Free. I tell people that all the time. Is you can continue to do it the expensive way. I'll sell you supplements all day long, but there's so many things you can do that are free that you might just not be willing to do.
That's right. That's the thing. See, we always tell people, we've always said this, we compensate for your bad habits.
Yep.
We do. You don't want to do it? Here, I'll give you something to help balance your adrenals.
Yep.
But those are expensive.
Yes.
I'm gonna show you something that costs $100 a bottle.
Yeah. And understand, we don't want you on a whack of supplements. Nope. We really don't. I want you on the fewest amount of herbs possible to keep you at the highest function while your lifestyle supports you being well. That's our goal for you.
That's your goal. And so it's really funny because everybody tells us about their stressors and what they're always doing. And we're like, good job security for us.
Yep.
So
it's more stuff.
Number 3, inversion table. The simplest thing. It's why yoga and everything became so popular. Anytime that you get the heart below the adrenals, and what is the most popular position in yoga?
The downward dog.
Downward dog. What you're really doing, you're getting the heart below the adrenals. Whenever you can get the heart below the adrenals don't have to work as hard. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? So in inversion table, I have one. It's right there. Do you know what I'm saying? Over here, we have it even right at the office that way. Yep. It's such a cheap tool that you can buy. I bought the thing like 10 years ago for $75.
Yeah.
And the reason I bought that one is because my other one broke because they use it so much.
You can go on like any of those sites. People are always selling them because they buy them and never use them. You can get them
Craigslist.
for super cheap. Yeah.
Craigslist. I mean, you can literally, people buy them, they never use them, and they sell them for like $50. And I see some of these Cadillac kind of ones, they're like $600. I'm like, holy mackerel.
Right.
Mine was $75 at Dick's Sporting Goods because it was actually, get this, I went there, I'm like, they had a sale, and it was a floor model. I said, it was $150. I'll give you a 50. They said 75. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And I've had that for 10 plus years now, and I just got rid of the other one because the other one broke. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you hang upside down, once again, blood flow gets to the head, the adrenals take a nice break. That's why, for example, I've always said this, but you have to get used to this. You should always take a 1-inch board at the bottom of your bed and slightly elevate your feet. People that elevate their head with pillows and stuff like that, guess what happens? You actually cause your adrenals and your heart to work harder. You don't get a deep and calming sleep like you would before. Once again, Dr. Shannyn, with the exception of buying an inversion table for $50, how much do those things cost you? Very little to nothing.
A couple bucks if you're going to put a board under there or stuff it with something else, something at home, cardboard boxes. Don't care what it is.
Okay. Here's one thing, for example, that is so simplistic, but we really forget about this. Remember, our body is based on a circadian rhythm with light, okay? You got to make sure that you're, number 4, you sleep in a very dark room, okay?
And you start shutting down your lights earlier too. So that's the part too, is all the fluorescent lights and all the blue light and all these things that are just surrounding you, most people up till like midnight. And then you try and shut everything down and expect to fall asleep in 10 minutes.
Good luck.
Your body was never designed to do that.
Nope. It's kind of funny. You ever notice, if you ever go back to some cool cultural history, Jewish people used to actually work from sun up till sundown, but when sundown went down, they shut down. Yeah. Do you understand? It's kind of cool if you look at certain cultures across the world. They actually shut their bodies down when the sun goes down. And guess when the sun goes down earlier? In the winter. In the winter.
Weird.
And, yeah, this is funny. See, wait, it's amazing how God created everything that way. And so it's like, but we're the crazy doctors.
Yes, we are.
You're saying? No, we're the scientific doctors that are doing everything that way. Dark room, Don't sleep with a nightlight. Don't sleep with those things. Once again, you're causing your circadian. Because listen, I can still see the light right here with my eyes closed that way.
Yeah.
It starts stimulating my hormone production too early and stuff like that. So that's why now
your body's release of melatonin, your pineal gland, like it's
right.
all based on those light rhythms. And
now the cool thing is this though. But if you want to wake your butt up in the morning, I do this consistently. Go outside, barefoot, winter, because we're talking about grounding and EMF and stuff like that. But guess what happens? Put your feet on the ground, look at the sun as it comes up. You want to talk about people say, Doc, you're up so early. Yeah, I love watching that sun come up. I love getting my hormone levels come up that way. It's absolutely amazing that way. And once again, free of charge.
Free of
charge. The sun does not bill you for any of its use, okay?
Not covered by insurance.
Yes, yeah. They don't care what provider you're on. They'll come up regardless. Reduce EMF, electromagnetic frequency. Guys, we're bombarded by computers, TVs, this thing like crazy. That's why.
Yes.
You understand? We got our EMF blockers and stuff.
My whole family has theirs.
Yes.
My little son wears his.
Exactly. And once again, we don't have any ties to this company, but I'm a big fan of Q-Link.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Doc, we always tell people this. We're not affiliated and we don't have ties to anybody because when we give you advice, it's advice, for example, just to make your life better.
Yes, truly. I mean, that is where our hearts are. Is we want you to be able to make these decisions and go to these places and find the things that we recommend because they're the things we use for ourselves and our families.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's what I said. As Dr. Shannyn and Justin and Jay stayed at our house this week. I mean, here, just tell them, what's our foods like?
Exactly what we teach you.
Every day.
Organic, gluten-free, the way we tell you to eat.
Yes. No soy, no anything that way. It's like they don't have to worry about coming to my house and open my refrigerator. They just look at, now remember, I can't have an egg, maybe they can, so what happens is, once again, we may not have that in my house, but otherwise, everything else, they can walk in and they don't have to worry about toxicity, you don't have to worry about anything. That way, we have the best filtration systems in our house, we have all this stuff, because we live it that way, okay? It's very important. So when we talk about EMF and things like that, so the cool thing is this, but grounding actually helps you actually reduce the amount of exposure to EMF. It's what? Take your shoes off, guess what? Jump on the ground.
Yes.
Jump on the ground.
And it's going back to basics. So your kids love to run around barefoot.
Yep.
Their bodies know that that's good for them. That's why they like to do that. We should be doing those things still because it helps really pull those EMFs out.
And the cool thing about this is it's so congruent with the way the body's made. It's easy to do, okay? Just simple things that you can start with. And we have other videos that we talk about inversion and grounding and things that go check those out. That's why we are constantly putting out videos. That's why I tell people, go watch all of our docs, because we all put out a ton of videos that are all congruent with all the messages. There's nothing that contraindicates each other. Now, next one. Okay, because I know it's going to happen, and people say, Doc, give me something to take, because there's people that just want to take stuff, okay? Ashwagandha, to me, is by far the best adaptogen. What does that mean? An adaptogen means, for example, if something's high, it'll help bring it to normal. If something's low, it'll help bring it to normal, okay? That's why I want to get one of my favorite adrenal herbs is actually ashwagandha.
Yeah, and he made a really good point when we were making our plan for today that really ashwagandha is probably the only adrenal supplement that we feel comfortable telling you that you can take untested because it's an adaptogen. You can go and Google herbs for adrenal support, and some of them will be contraindicated for your case. Where it's an adaptogen, ashwagandha would be something that we feel comfortable with you starting, even if you didn't have testing.
But to give you an idea, this is not a joke. We produce the best pure stuff on the planet. It's not a joke. I'm saying it because our company, because we do. We have high standard testing and stuff like that. But you understand, a bottle of ashwagandha is going to cost you $100. So what we preach is remove the stressors to adrenals instead of always adapting to them. Yep. So when even a patient comes in and says, Doc, this, I'm like, okay, fine, I can give you a $100 bottle of ashwagandha. It's going to help you adapt to stress, but why don't we just take care of the stressors? Yep. You know what I'm saying? And I've literally had to look at this. One thing that we talked about, a disgusting thing that we talked about while you guys were here, is the amount of physical abuse in women and the amount of sexual abuse on women. It's ridiculous. So I understand, the only thing that I have a hard time understanding, because I'm a man, well, you do too, is the fact that, not you're a man, you're a woman, but the idea is this, is the fact that a man hits a woman and the woman still stays there. It blew my mind. I'm like, it's foreign to me. I'm like, are you kidding me? And the sad part is, as docs, we can't say anything if it's an adult. If it's a child, we can report for abuse, but the amount of abuse, I literally have women that take ashwagandha all the time because they're abused. And I'm going, I want to beat up the abuser. Do you understand? So physical and sexual abuse are very common. And so sometimes those things are very hard to get over, which I don't expect them to get over, but hard to deal with on a regular basis that way.
Which is where herbs are perfect to bridge that gap.
To help them adapt, okay? It's why, number 7 here, CBD oil. CBD oil just calms the system down like crazy. All the cannabinoids, and people know I'm a huge fan. Huge fan, once again, of marijuana oil, which is, you can grab the CBD from marijuana because that's higher THC that way. But once again, obviously some states it's illegal and stuff like that. But once again, let me say this again. Please don't smoke marijuana. I'm against you smoking marijuana. I think it's ridiculous. You're going to have lung cancer someday and so that. So please don't smoke. But the oil extract from either the hemp, which we all have through the clinics all through across the country. We have one of those potent ones made in the whole country. But also too, if you can get your hands on marijuana oil, get it. For you guys that, I love when people call us from Colorado and our Colorado offices go, Doc, I'm so stressed out. I'm like, heck, don't go to a wellness way. Go get some good CBD oil that has some marijuana and take it. Yeah. It calms the stress down.
It really does.
It's one of the reasons why, in my personal opinion, now once again, I always say fact and opinion, and you can give me your opinion on this. I believe that, for example, that marijuana, smoking-wise, is abused a lot because people just have so much stress.
Yes. Yes.
That's it. They're trying to get a break.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I tell people, that's why I think it's so popular, because the amount of stressors out there. So we will always be the docs that are going to try to address the stressors, but sometimes they don't. So there's things like ashwagandha and CBD oil that you want to take. Now, once again, a lot of people have a stigma against marijuana oil, so use the hemp version of that way. There is THC in there, just a small amount. Usually, you usually don't have any problem with any drug testing that way.
That's a big question.
Yes, exactly. But like I said, but I've had patients come and say, Doc, you know what's really funny, Doc, side note, it'll make Nancy laugh too. It's really funny. I don't care how old you are. Somebody out there knows somebody that does marijuana.
Yeah. And
then people are like, Doc, it's illegal in Wisconsin. What do I do? I'm like, go start talking to your friends and family. I had a patient one time go, dude, my grandma actually has some marijuana. And he never knew until he started talking to his family. I'm like, sweet. I'm like, your grandma was born in the 60s. She's probably been doing it the whole time. No wonder your grandma's so damn happy all the time.
She's very calm.
Yeah. Someday they're going to kick us off of Facebook and YouTube, Nancy. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. But that's our point.
Yeah.
But that's what we tell people as docs. You know, even if marijuana is eventually legal in every state, we can't prescribe it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell people, get it, okay? Once again, but if you have a little stigma mentally against marijuana, guess what? Then use the hemp version that way. It's potent, extremely potent. Yeah. You know, get some good hemp oil that way. We have some of the best in the country because it's the most potent and stuff like that. So look into that. But number 8, I'm going to preach this till the day I'm dead. I teach every doctor, Dr. Shannon, Dr. Justin, everyone that way, that stress still kills more people than anything on the planet, especially you ladies. Stress management is so key. Now remember, there's 3 major stressors: trauma, toxins, and thoughts. So that's why you call them the 3 T's, which, for example, people don't realize. Chiropractors, B.J. Palmer came up with that a long time ago, not us. We just said, listen, that was the smartest thing ever. We put it into major clinical practice today that way. Yep. That's why what chiropractors really do. You know what I'm saying? Insurance and medicine has changed the thought process of chiropractors. But Doc, you went to school, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars for an education, not to become a back pain doctor.
Absolutely not.
And so it's like stress management. So that's what we do. Doc will sit with a lady, and so will Dr. Justin, as he's running around the office here that way. We'll sit with them and say, listen, the mental stress is killing you. The toxic stress is killing you. The trauma, you need to get adjusted. Those are things that are key to their stress management.
Yeah.
So it's very key. So Doc.
Yes.
Thoughts. Also too, in every wellness way, Dr. Shannon and I put that thyroid book together, the wellness way approach to the thyroid that way. Get it. It's amazing. You can buy it from our store. Once again, as you guys know, we're not big sellers people that way, but we'd love to get you the information. We will constantly put out massive videos for you to do. So Doc, some closing thoughts for holy mackerel, the amount of people that are watching us in the comments today.
Yes, well, my closing thoughts are always this, is if you're still struggling with your health in any capacity, you haven't been properly tested, and you just haven't found the right healthcare practitioner for you. So I encourage you, and what a lot of people don't know is all of our docs can see people all over the country. I mean, we all provide phone consultations, and we'll reach out to you. So you don't have to be close to a clinic if you're not. Just reach out on Facebook, and I'm certain Nancy will find you someone close to you or get you on a phone call. Let's start putting your pieces together. Get the proper testing, get an action plan, because whatever you're going through, I promise you, is not what you're destined to have. We just haven't found the right answers for you yet. So start there, and it's amazing to watch the transformations that happen. It's very, very cool.
That's right. And so I want to thank you Doc.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Well, I'm standing next to the thyroid whisperer right here. Dr. Justin he's back there playing with Jake. Dr. Justin, thank you for coming up and visiting us. And I want to thank all of our Wellness Way doctors. And I saw Dr. Kelvy, Dr. Jeremy, and Dr. Brian. All you guys are on there from across the country. Thank you for doing what you do. You guys are absolutely amazing. And once again, spend some time, research what we said, look at what we said today, and try to do this. Say, I think Dr. Shannyn, Dr. Patrick are full of crap. I want to prove them wrong. Start your study. And once again, it's not about being right. It's about leading you down a path, for example, to actually get you to where you want to go. Because right now, most paths lead to extremely a lot of illness. Yeah. Stats are getting worse. You hear me repeat that all the time. Heart disease, cancer, infertility, thyroid problems, marriages, all things are an all-time bad situation. There's got to be a different way of thinking, and that's what Wellness Way approach does for you. So once again, thank you guys for always watching. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, the Hormone Whisperer. Continue to like and share all of our videos, and they're always up on YouTube after this. So God bless all you guys. Dr. Shannyn, thank you so much for taking the time this week and being here. So we appreciate you all you guys. We will see you guys next week.